NDIS providers are facing growing pressure from rising costs, workforce challenges, and complex award requirements, with payroll becoming a major compliance and also a business risk. Many organisations are looking for better ways to manage costs while ensuring staff are paid correctly. I'm joined in the studio by Garth Belic, founder of PayCat. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
This is obviously a growing issue, particularly in this sector.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're hearing from the sector at the moment that the difference between what they're billing and payroll costs, which is sort of what the billing model's based on loosely, is about 2%.
Wow.
So it's getting harder and harder for NDIS providers out there to cover their back office.
And make sure they're doing the right thing as well. Now, I know that you built this business really from the ground up, a bit like Steve Jobs here in your garage, but in Newcastle. What's that experience, I guess, taught you about building a successful payroll business?
Well, I think the biggest thing is there's a lot of lessons and a lot of things that, you know, if we did our time over, we'd do it again differently. But
yes, it's always our first time on the planet. That's what I try and remember.
Yeah, I think the thing that I learned that was the most success for us is we had a little story where we went and put a whole bunch of ebooks out during COVID.
Yep.
And listened to the data that come back from Google and what was looking at our website, and it was overwhelmingly the NDIS sector that
interesting
wanted that more than other awards.
Well, that's where the growth is at the moment as well, right?
Yeah. And it's an extremely complicated environment. So the big lesson for us was to, you know, let the data drive where the business
goes, which is a great way to put it. One of the other things we're seeing is that a lot of NDIS providers are facing a lot of pressure. That's what the data is showing us at the moment.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that pressure.
Well, it comes from, it's twofold. So as I said before, the pricing model is loosely based on what the requirements of the modern award is. And the modern award in this sector is called the SCHADS Award.
Yep.
That's the acronym for it.
And SCHADS.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's essentially, if it's not the most complicated award in Australia, it's probably top 3.
Right.
I think it's probably got a podium finish.
They do love to make things complicated, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And it doesn't ever seem to lose complexity as the rules change. We just had a big rule change actually at the time of filming it, just at the start of this month.
Yeah.
And it changes how shifts are paid around sleepovers and all that sort of thing. So there's just this ongoing ambiguity about how people are meant to be paid in that sector. And so when you're putting content out there online, or in our case, we've got a solution that calculates it, it's obviously taking that pressure away from people getting it right. When you're in the award space, if you're paying your staff as per the award, you're meeting the minimum requirements. So you can't go under that. And some people sometimes try to say, well, you know what, Aaron, I'll just pay you an extra $5 and we'll remove the complexity altogether. You can't do that in this industry due to such high money.
Yeah, well, that's 100%. I mean, and the other challenge as well is that the more focus that an organisation puts on things like payroll and getting it right, the less they're thinking about the actual participant of the NDIS, which is what it's all about. It becomes an industry upon itself.
Yes, absolutely. We often find that in the smaller end of the sector too, it's often the the owners or the managers that are putting themselves off looking after their participants and spending a day, 2 days, and 3 days sort of getting this payroll calculation.
Talk to me about that then. Where are they most commonly getting rostering and payroll wrong when it comes to an NDIS provider?
Well, in payroll, as I said, the ambiguity, if we're getting specific, probably comes around a lot of the sleepover penalties, shift work penalties, and some of the complex allowances during the award. So there was a broken shift allowances introduced, and there's a lot of ambiguity around that. I think that was about 2022.
And of course, the idea of the whole NDIS is to make things simpler for families and simpler for the participants. But the complexity of the people involved means that you're going to have complexities like overnight shifts. But as you say, the margins are so tight, even though everyone thinks there's just so much money in the NDIS.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting payroll right at the end of each fortnight is one issue. But the other issue, of course, is, as you touched on, rostering, which is where we're seeing people being rostered on for a shift, and you're kind of at that stage a little bit invisible about what the cost outcome is going to be until payday. Yeah. So that's something we're trying to fix as part of payday.
Well, talk to me about that. What are you actually doing? Talk to us about PayCat Connect, what it is, how it helps providers.
So PayCat traditionally has always managed the compliance of that award. So we receive timesheets at the end of each fortnight.
Yep.
We can generate a payslip using our software that's automated, and it's going to be compliant with that award, which is a big relief for providers. But what we want to do is we want to send that upstream and put it in front of the rostering managers, so that if you do get fortnightly overtime or a broken shift allowance or some of these things that are a little bit hard to spot and hard to manually calculate, you're seeing it real time. You can adjust your roster, you can adjust your work pattern.
Which sticks you with compliance, helps you get through that and takes away a lot of the complexity.
Absolutely. We had a good pilot story just recently where we had one of our first beta clients on it that went from $8,000 in fortnightly overtime to $1,500 a fortnight.
Wow.
So that's a massive saving.
Yeah.
And that's not getting passed on through NDIS billing.
Yeah.
So that's just pure margin that they've got back.
All right, we've got to leave it there. Before we go, how can people find out more?
Have a look at our website, www.paycat.com.au, and you can also follow us on all socials.
All right. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in the sector who appreciate what you're doing as well. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.